Oh yeah, this is hurting my brain. Welcome, it's Sunday morning and we are doing this. It's Art of Rock. Every Sunday at this time, we come here and here's Randall. We talk about the craft of making art and we help each other through and hopefully help you through. So every Sunday, join us here on Angelspit's Twitch. And that's when I'm supposed to copy and paste this link, which I didn't because I need more coffee. Oh yeah, I do. This is brought to you by Angelspit's Patreon. Many of Angelspit's amazing Patreon members and friends are here now. You guys keep me going, and I'm going to try and keep you guys going. And I just remembered there was something I was supposed to say before all of this, but I didn't. Julius, remind me to talk about screaming at a microphone, screaming at a camera in frustration. You're the best. Speaking of which, Brighton Shots has a new video out. Check this out because it's really, really awesome. It's a really fun video. Go and watch it. Angelspit has a new single out called Don't Know Zero. It's got like 11 remixes on it, and it's bloody awesome, and you can get it from the Bandcamp. If you're a Patreon member, you can go and download it for free from that post, and it will be very shortly on Spotify. On the subject of amazing tracks on Spotify, here are some tracks you need because it's all about discovering new artists. There's a whole bunch of tracks there from artists who rock. And Kevin, I'm going to invite you onto that link shortly. Go play it. Go, and there are a bunch of artists here and a bunch of artists who are on the Patreon and I have communications with. Enjoy that music. Share that music. That's on Spotify. Do it now. And the objective of the exercise is artists are all pushing each other and helping, and thus helping us grow together. And my cat is going to start squawking at me any second now. Next. I did it. There's a new EP out from Els and the Cult. It's bloody awesome. Go check it out. And he's got a video as well. Speaking of videos, Eric's got a video out. Hanging Raven has a new track out called Synthesize. It's on, as of now on YouTube. It's bloody awesome. Go watch it. I'm having a cocktail competition because I think right now the best thing we can do is drink and laugh together. Not all the cocktails are going to be alcoholic. In fact, a lot of them aren't. They're health cocktails. Plus, not so health cocktails. Go there. The link is on there somewhere, I think. Click on it. It's going to be a fucking shit show because I'm all about shit shows. Me falling over is the funniest thing in the world. There was something else I was supposed to plug besides MTV TV, but I forgot what it is. Boom! If you like a dark and constant never-ending MTV TV, if you're in a band, email them. Look at that email right there. Send your stuff to MTV TV, and we're going to keep this going because we need this to keep going. Remind me to turn your mics on. Look, I just turned your mics on. And after we've done this, we are going to zoom on over to MTV TV, and it's going to be awesome. And if you're in a band and you do stuff on Twitch, once you've done, raid, because I meant to say raid in a Zoom, raid to MTV TV. So after you've done your Twitch system, take your followers and go watch MTV TV, because I have learned about so many amazing bands that are around right now on MTV TV. It's not a pay-for-play system. You send your tracks, they'll play them. All you need is a video. And we did a thing on that video, and I need to send you guys that video so you can start playing that on MTV TV, because I realized I haven't, because I'm just such an awful friend. Before we dive into it, I was supposed to turn this into off camera, but I didn't. So I'm needing some help with making a Kickstarter video, and it involves you screaming into a camera frustratedly. And there's a link. I'll post it in the chat as well. If you guys want to be a part of it, I need these today. It would be so awesome if you could do this, because sometimes all you can do is scream and break stuff. So go there. It'll take 20 seconds of your life for a good laugh, a quarter of a frame laugh. Let's talk about the creativity and the joys of making music. So the question I want to start with, and if anybody else wants to interrupt this question because it's crap, that's okay. Why is there so much importance of having one of Zeus's bastard daughters, aka the Muses? It's all about Xanadu, isn't it? And roller skates. Did anyone get that reference? Yeah, few. Okay. And ELO. It's all about having a muse. Well, what if you don't have a muse? What do you do if you don't have the muse? What if it's not a person or a something or a piece of gear? What is a muse? Is it important to you? And what do you do if you don't have one? How do you find one? Because the muse is always supposed to be a human, but what if it's not a human? Go.
I think each person defines their muse differently. I think for some it's a person, some it's an object, or some it's just the back of their brain kicking in the ideas. I think I'm the only non-musician here. I'm just a writer. But for my muse, I honestly don't think I have one that I consciously am aware of. Just ideas will come and ideas will go, and I tend to write down as many as I can grasp, and I sort through them later and toss out the ones I don't like.
Okay.
But
Awesome.
there'll be times when no ideas are coming. That's usually when there's added stress in life.
Okay. No, all right, that's good. If anybody, yeah, thank you. I see your hand, Vince. Go.
Okay. I think, based on what Brian just said, I think what might be a better question is, how do you identify your muse? Because I think everyone has an inspiration. You got to figure out what that is.
Keep going.
Well, I don't know how to go about doing that necessarily. I mean, like in Brian's case, he says the ideas just kind of come to him, but like what do you write about? Maybe that would help you look at the themes in your writing, not necessarily the subject matter itself. Maybe that's your inspiration.
So perhaps go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Maybe it's not the themes in the writing. Maybe it's the characters themselves are based on events in your life. But in musically, it's roughly the same. I mean, it's all emotion based, so as most art is. But so like you got to find what it is. Why are you doing it? That's your muse, your inspiration. It's the why. You got to figure out the why before you can say you even have a how, I think.
That's fantastic. I love that. And guys, if you want to throw in, just throw up your little hand in your in the Zoom there. So I want to throw that back, and you know, if the other part of that question is, so what if your muse changes? What if your why changes? What if you're going through your career and you're trying to get it, and you've been constantly bombarded, and things change? What do you do? Julius, go.
Going to give it a try here. What do I do? Well, the question is, what does my creative brain do? Because thinking logically, I would say that my art changes. When my muse changes, also my art changes. So just go with the vibe. I guess you can't do any other, I think. And a question I wanted to throw back at everyone is muse the same as inspiration? Like, does it, yes, Mark, like, I know it goes together, but is it the same? What do you think about this?
I was going to ask that question. That's why I shook my fist at you.
Well, Mark, jump in on that and build on it. And
no, that's a legitimate question for everyone. Is that the same thing? Because I guess I always saw inspiration as, you know, what inspires you. Like, for instance, I would not say I have a muse right now, at least. I just think it's fun to make music. And I wouldn't really call that a muse. So I don't know if people are defining those terms differently.
Yeah, no, it's like the point of view is I want to throw out, come up with some help as you know, when all of us are gonna hit that iceberg, that not so good iceberg at some point in our Titanic, and how do we man the lifeboats and keep going? Like, that's the question. Eric, go.
I think I think every muse is an inspiration, but not every inspiration is a muse, if that makes sense. Where if you have a muse, whatever it is, usually it's a person or a personified object. That's always going to be inspiring to you, but inspiration isn't always a muse. Like if I watch a movie and I'm inspired by it to make a song, that's not my muse, but I'm inspired by it. But say you have a partner, or you're in love with somebody and that's your muse to make the music, then it's inspiring because of that person, and you make, or art, whatever art you're doing, writing. I think, yeah, it's a different thing for sure, but and yeah, I don't know, that's it.
Oh, that's great. Julius, I'm going to jump in after you, and I'm going to get really heavy. Go.
Okay, so personifying muses or a muse, one could say that some of you are my muse. Is that what you were talking about, Eric? Or do you say it's just one person you absolutely adore?
Both, I think. I think the original definition, or where it comes from, is the person you adore, like that, or people you adore. So in that case, if you adore us, and then we would be inspiring for you to make music. I mean, yeah, I was for sure, like, I was having a lot of problems over the last couple of years, even just making music. And since joining this group, this has helped me a lot. Just come out and knowing, I'm not alone, and you guys are inspiring. So by definition, you are muses that help me write.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Maybe not by the traditional definition, but, and words change. Like the word epic, like everyone uses it as is, epic's like, oh man, did you see that show? It was epic. That song's epic. Like, that's not really what epic means. An epic is just a long tale. Like, words change and definitions change throughout history. So I think muse has taken a different definition now, comparing to how it was intended.
Okay. Thank you both. Kevin, I think I saw your hand. Can I? There's a little thing you can throw your hand up, and if you can't, just wave. But after me, I'll throw it to you.
Sure.
So I've the thing I have learned tragically is that it's really important to become self-contained, because if you rely on someone, they're going to let you down, and that's not vindictive. Sometimes people just don't. They have higher priorities, etc. When you lose your muse, and that muse is a human being, and that human being goes away, it's the most. It's destructive on so many planes, because not only, I have a friend who once told me that breaking up with a band is worse than breaking up with a girlfriend, because you're breaking up with all the members. But if that person is also your significant other, it's this really wonderful new level of heartbreak that you have to go through. And like, there are so many bands around that are a couple get together and they create their art, and this is really dark and heavy for a Sunday morning, and I apologize, but unfortunately some of you are going to go through this, and I hope this helps. Wow, I did not intend this to be this heavy. So many bands I see are a couple, but so often, unfortunately, those couples break up. So then this musical child evaporates. I've learned that you can't, it's got to come from you. And your muse has to be, like, a group of people like this is a wonderful, safe thing. And, just like Eric said, I'm taking musical risks. Come in, John, what's going on? I'm taking musical risks now, and I'm doing things that I would never do without the challenges that you guys have set me. So, yeah, that would be my advice, is that I used to put a lot of emphasis on the concept of a muse, but through the experience of life, I've walked away from that, and I've realized that it's got to come from me. A piece of gear could be a muse. A piece of gear is a great muse. You know, $50 distortion pedal and you're in love, and everything's new. What does this sound like when I put it through? Also, an idea. You know, an idea is a hell of a muse, because that idea is probably going to outlive you. And there are a lot of people as well who are caught onto that idea. You can't kill an idea. So that was very dark, and I apologize. Just find the strength within yourself, I guess. That was shit. I'm sorry. Kevin, you now have to save this poo, and then I'm going to this fucking wrist slitting session, and then we're going to throw it to Vince. Kevin, what you got?
I was just going to say, at the risk of sounding a little more shallow, I agree with, I can't remember who said it earlier, but I make music just because it's fun. It's an escape. I can sit down and work on a drum beat for hours, and it feels like 5 minutes. So for me, working on music is just my escape, really. And if I hit the wall, like we all do, and I'm not sure where to go, I just walk away, and then something comes along and I find inspiration in it. Whether it's one of Brian's books, for example, I wrote a song about one of his characters. It could be, I get them a lot from books, sometimes movies, sometimes just the aura of a movie. Like I can watch a Peckinpah film and write a song just based on the imagery, not even about the characters or anything like that. So for me, it's an escape. It's fun, and ideas are kind of everywhere if you just open up and absorb them.
I absolutely agree with that. Vince, hit me with your rhythm stick.
All right. Back to a little bit what you were saying about being self-contained. I think in order to be self-contained as artists, we have to all have our own psychologically healthy definition of what a muse is, as to not be too attached to any individual thing as our inspiration. Your muse needs to be a source of inspiration, not a source of material. You need to still be able to create and find other things to draw from in the event that you lose your own source of inspiration at any time. And I forgot the other thing I was going to say. Yeah, I got nothing right now. I lost it. It's gone. Oh, no, I got it. I remember now. About music being fun. That's the other thing. If you're not enjoying your process, you're doing it wrong. You have to enjoy the process to be successful at anything.
Okay. Oh, John. Thank you, Vince. John, it's good to see you back, and your daughter. Hi, guys. Welcome. John, what you got?
Hey there, thank you. Yeah, no, it's been a while. Yeah, inspiration, like for me, like can be both a crutch, but it's also like one of those things. Like I've done a lot of collaborative works. Hi, Tippy Toe. You know, and also like I found that like some of my best works are when I'm supporting something that already exists, as than like doing a short film, a score, music for a video game or something like that. Is like, because when I'm just doing it on my own, I just feel like it's like, oh, it's like cool, I've come up with 30 seconds or a minute worth of something, but it doesn't really say anything, it doesn't really go anywhere, it's just kind of there. And that's the, it's like, with that said, I can also get myself into kind of an anti-loop where a negative loop where it's like, oh, I'm not actively working on anything right now, and therefore I can't be creative. Instead of using that opportunity to experiment, or it's like, I have not used this tool in this particular way, or I don't know how this particular thing works, or this, and it's like sometimes it's okay to take a pause and introspect and not do something that's fucking amazing. Sometimes you just have to do something mechanical so you can figure out what how to build your skill set. So it's like giving yourself permission to sit back every once in a while or hit the books. You know, it's like we do not always have to be a hyper productive 100% of the time.
Awesome, man. Brian, I'm going to go in after you. Go.
I'd like to add maybe inspiration's evil twin is a deadline. Sometimes a deadline will light my fire more than any muse or inspiration could. If someone puts a deadline on my head and I've got a writing project going, I will kill myself to get it done on time. And I'm usually happier with that work than I am when I'm just sort of, writing on my own terms, writing on my own deadline. And it just somehow I get more done. I think that probably applies to a lot of us.
Awesome.
What do you guys think?
For sure. Julius, I just want to jump in real quick. There's a show on Hulu, if you get a chance. It's called The Thief and the Painter. And it's about a thief that steals a woman's painting, and they end up becoming friends. And it's a documentary, and it's in I think it's in Denmark, set in Denmark. And it's really interesting. It's quite amazing. To see this path that these two, it's shot over like 4 years, because he goes to jail for a year during the making of it, for something else. And you get an insight into Danish prisons, and it's like, wow, he went in as a gangster and he came out as a hipster. Like, seriously. Like, he was totally zenned out, man. He had his shit together. Anyway, that's interesting you say that, Brian, because the thing I wanted to bring up was purpose. That, and somebody else mentioned that as well, the whole concept of a purpose. Like something you said, John, is if you are writing for a purpose with a deadline, and throw in there some starvation as well. Starvation's a great motivator, let me tell you. Or you have to do better than your last album. Some really good things happening. And here we are in a group where we can say, okay, to challenge each other and to push each other on with a purpose. So I'm all about the purpose, but I want to hear what you have to say, Julius.
Just very briefly, it's funny to hear how so many people get inspired by deadlines, because when getting a deadline, be it in writing or in music, it absolutely kills my workflow and my creativity, and I'm like stunned, you could say. And I bow down before everyone who solely lives from the art they make, and rely on that and be creative despite all the deadlines and starving in the background. So
Thank you. Randall, I love hearing your brain work through your mouth.
My brain. Okay. All right. I was just gonna say about the whole deadline thing. I'm the kind of person where if it's me doing it, I will keep fiddling, and it will never be done. I think I do my best work when I'm doing it. I don't know. I feel like the remixes and things that I do are better. The things I do with other people are better. The art I do for other people is better, because great comic book artist Jack the King Kirby back in the day, he said something that really stuck with me. Somebody asked him how he was so prolific and did so many comics at the same time. The level of his art was so great. And he said, well, it's better than perfect. Done.
Oh.
The deadline made him have to finish. Done is better than perfect, because perfect will never happen. And that same thing applies to me. I'm trying to figure out a way to force deadlines on myself to make me have to finish, which is kind of hard to do, because I can always push it back and I just keep pushing it back because there's no has to be done thing, which is a problem for me. It's not lack of inspiration; it's lack of ever wanting to let it go and let it be done.
Okay, can I, John? I see your hand really quickly. Randall, if you don't complete an album within the next 18 months, you're sending me one of your guitars. No, it's not. It's not. You don't get a choice in that.
No, okay, which one? Because there are 10 here.
10 fucking guitars. You're sending all of us one of your guitars in the next 18 months.
And 2 basses.
That's 12.
Yeah, 12 total.
There you go. There you go.
You don't understand.
No, I do understand. And you don't need... I just bought 5 fucking... I've got the kids downstairs. I just bought 5 damn distortion pedals, man. I understand. All of us understand about gear acquisition syndrome. All right, we're gonna swing around to this, and I'll send you my address, and I'm gonna make it 18 hours.
Okay, you know what? You actually, the last time I saw you in person, you told me
I threatened
that
you, didn't I?
the next time you saw me, if I didn't have an album, you were gonna kick my ass.
I know it was something more than that. It was something more. It would have been really, really vile and grotesque. Like I was gonna poo in an envelope and send it to you in the mail.
It was, but I haven't seen you since because, you know,
True.
COVID and everything.
True.
So I feel like I still have time.
Wow. Okay, no, we're hitting a point here. I'm going to send this on to John.
Okay. I'm done. That's all I had.
You are far from done. John?
The worst thing I ever got in the mail was a dead skunk, and I sort of deserved it, but not really. But anyway, deadlines, on the subject of deadlines, they can be incredibly useful because it's really easy to procrastinate if the deadline is far out. Carl, you fucked me up by giving me it's like, here's a remix. It's like, oh, I don't need it till December. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Now I don't have to think about it. I'm like, wait a second, I'm not making any progress on this. Okay, cool. Now it is arbitrarily done, due at the end of October, end of September. It's like just so I can get it done. And on the subject of done, is like I was in a kind of loop of not finishing projects or having a bunch of half-done things, and then I worked on a short film that I was scoring, and there was a bunch of 3, 4, 5, 6 a.m. nights of just gotta ship it, it's like, all right, cool, is this perfect? No. Is it good enough? Yeah, I can live with this. Or it's like, oh, that's a temp track. Yeah, no, it was the end product. But it's like, then I go back and listen to it, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. It's like, it's cohesive. Yeah, there's some problems, glitches here and there, and it's like, you can endlessly tweak it, or you can just be like, yeah, that is a complete product. And there's something to be said about just fucking ship it.
All right, we've hit something here, but in the meanwhile, Eric, talk to me.
Yeah, I like to give myself deadlines. Deadlines from somebody else is a little different, but being a perfectionist, I will sit here and fiddle with the same one song for 2 years until I feel it's done. Or I can get to the point where I'm like, all right, I feel this is pretty close to done, and then go, all right, I gotta finish this in 2 weeks, then I'll put it away and come back to it, and I'll get it done, because I will keep going on it unless I put it away and it's done and out. Same thing with anything I'm doing. If I don't give myself a deadline, it will never get done, ever. So deadlines are definitely good and maybe inspirational? Question mark?
Yeah. Okay, so I did this thing where I every time I do a mix or something on a track, I will go back, I'll add on one version to the Cubase file. So if I ever need to go back, which I never ever do, I can, step through. This has got a point. Same with the mixes when I'm exporting MP3 demos. They're all numbered, the same as the Cubase file, so I can tell who's at where. And I I maybe 2 albums ago learnt this thing where I would listen to version 12, mix number 12, and I'd go back and I'd listen to mix number 9, and the differences were zero. They were so tiny. Sure, if the bass line is bad, if the melody is bad, if the fundamental building blocks of the song itself need work, it should not even be going to production stage until the song sounds good on an acoustic guitar, or at its simplest, most you screaming along to a drum beat. The song's got everything there. But there's all of this other stuff that ironically, I don't mean to be taking the piss, Randall, it's just ironic that all of these toys and all of this stuff that it only has value if the song is good. If the song isn't any good, who cares about that thing there? Or this thing, this very rare blah, 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 that I said, this is the thing I need. Who cares about that amazing Moog bass line? It doesn't matter if the bass line sucks. Who cares about that fantastic microphone going through that beautiful compressor and this great signal chain if the vocals are rubbish and if the lyrics are rubbish and if there's no hook? As I've mentioned before, the rumor is that Bjork used to record her stunning hits on an SM58. I don't want to talk about gear right now, but the point about it is that through whatever, so much of what we do is around the wrong way. And I think that, Randall, what you said about the one thing better than perfect is done, that is, I've written that down. Like, that's done is better than perfect. That's insane. And that's a really good thing about you guys having a Patreon, is that I'm forced to output a track every month. Oh no, I might be working on a song for 6 months, 9 months, 18 months, but when it's ready, it's got to drop every month. And that's why I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, etc., because the track's got to be done. It might not be a hit, but it's the best it can be. Albums don't need a whole bunch of hits. They just need good tracks. And the ones that aren't so good, you put them on the B-sides of singles. Kevin, tell me about your wisdom.
Well, I had a question. We've talked about deadlines and a couple different other inspirational things that might motivate you. I was wondering if anybody else, because one of my big motivators is actually, and this may be a commentary on my personality, but is trying to impress people. I rework a song over and over because when I present it to my band, I want them to go, wow. When I present it to my producer, I want him to be impressed. I find wanting, like when I wrote a song for Brian Fitzpatrick there, I wanted to get it really good because when he heard it, I wanted him to be wowed. So I find a lot of inspiration and a lot of my hard work is wanting those that I present it to like it. So, while I'm not writing pop music, I don't want the masses to like it. Those that are important to me, be it my band, my producer, somebody I write a song for, I want to impress them. So I don't know if other people feel a lot of that as well.
That's great. Eric, I see your, thanks, man. Let's talk about this. Eric, I see your hand.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I deal with that a lot. And especially the last music project I was doing, which is why I started Hangin' Raven now, is I found myself going more trying to create songs and music that's going to be liked by more people as opposed to writing it for myself. And that's a really tricky borderline, I think, that you need to walk, and kind of like you have to write it for yourself. Any piece of art you have to do for yourself because you have to have fun doing it. If you're constantly just making art for other people, well, now you're working a 9-to-5 day job for somebody else, which is the whole point of art and creativity is not to do that lifestyle. So I really think as artists we need to do stuff for ourselves, but you are writing it for an audience, or you're creating it for an audience, so they have to like it too. So it's like a really tricky line you have to walk And hopefully you have a net underneath because you're gonna need a bar and just borderline that. But like, yeah, the last project I found myself writing for more of like, hey, I really want to make it, and this is what I want to do, and then I lost my creative spark and I lost my enthusiasm for it. So I started again from a clean slate, and now I'm just doing it for myself. But the back of my head is still saying, I need these, I want these, I want people to like this. And even if I think this song is good, as long as I can get the best I can do, and you just, before, like I said, deadline, this is it. Now you gotta send it out. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't, and that's it. But yeah, walk the line.
Thanks, Eric. Just want to do a shout out to Grim. Grim, you should jump on the jump in, man. You got the Zoom link, and Aussie Rob and Loki. If you guys want to send Loki the link, it'd be great to start having Loki in here. And Sphinx Star, welcome. This is hurting. This is a good conversation. It's hurting a bit. Randall, what do you got?
Okay. Wow. The whole thing of working to impress other people, I do the same thing. And just very recently, I realized people are more easily impressed by my work than I am. I've noticed. Like, I do, I'm a graphic artist, was a tattoo artist till the whole COVID thing. And people still, I'll do art for other people, and I'll do something and I won't be terribly happy with it. And I'll be like, okay, here's what I have so far. And the answer I always get is, oh my God, this is incredible. I'll do a piece of music or something and I'll let somebody hear it and be like, oh yeah, this is like really early because I haven't gone through and done my production magic or whatever. And they're like, yo, this is freaking great. It's like I hold myself to a much higher standard than I think anybody else would. Because they don't know all the little things. You know, there's all those little tricks in the little things, and the person listening or the person looking at it doesn't know what that is. They just know it sounds good to them. It doesn't matter how many little things you stick in. If it works, it works. And that's just something I've kind of only recently started applying to myself, which is why I feel like I can actually make an album now. I think it'll be okay. Where I used to, like, over like a 4-year period, I had like 4 songs, you know, because I would want it to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, done's better than perfect. And I think I'm a lot harder to impress with my own work than other people are, if that makes sense. But that's all I had.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. This is going to bring a lot of hands because you just brought up a lot of points that I know that a lot of people here have got stuff they want to talk about. Brian, what you got?
Hey, mostly I just wanted to piggyback on Kevin's commentary and as well as Randall's. First, I got to say, when Kevin approached me about doing a song about my book's villain, she is a insane mad genius who hates herself, and his song blew my fucking mind. It was incredible, and the music, the lyrics, everything on it. So anyway, I agree with Kevin that there is a level of the people we respect and the people we love. I think we do have this desire to make them happy, make them respond well to what we've done. In the writing world, whether I'm submitting to an agent, my publisher, or my editor, who will be very cruel to me, I want them to like it. And I think that tacks on to the inspiration part, because we're writing for ourselves, but we also really desire that feedback that, hey, you're on the right track, or you've done this, I'm really pleased with this. And then that comes around to Randall's commentary about how others who are sort of laymen to it, they don't know all the little nuances you go through, the blood, sweat, and tears. they hear it or read it, and they seem to be more easily impressed than you are, because I think we are all our own harshest critics. I think that goes without saying. We're all our own worst critics, no matter what our medium is. That's all I wanted to add.
Thank you, man. Thanks a lot. Adam, we're going to be wrapping this up in about 17 minutes.
Right on. My thinking on this is like, if I make something that is meaningful to me, then it's going to be meaningful to someone else. It doesn't matter if that audience is like gold record or platinum record audience, or if it just affects one person and something that I made either brings them joy or solace in their pain or whatever it is. You know, I just figure if I make something that's important to me, then it will be important to somebody else. Like, we just have to make what we make and put it out into the zeitgeist.
Yeah, so true, man. Thank you. Kevin.
Yeah, I think what he just said is brilliant, actually, because I find while I don't ever intend to appeal to a large audience, when I do get feedback from those who are similar to me, at least mentally or whatever, when I hit those people and move them, that's the greatest thing to me. When I get an email from someone that, it could be one email a week, a month, and they're just like, man, that fucking album's great. It's the soundtrack for my life right now. That's it. For me, that's success. That's all.
Thank you. Okay. So, firstly, Randall, I'm just going to shoot my mouth off. We've got about 15 minutes left. And once we've done on the live broadcast, I'm just going to leave this Zoom open and we're just going to hang out and talk, because this is good therapy. I have learned, but this might be different for you, is that all of those little tiny bits, like the difference between, okay, this is awesome, which is represented as 80%, and then the idea of perfect, which is represented as 100%, you know what I mean? The amount of work involved in that is 5 times the amount of work you've put into everything else, because that means taking out every single sibilance, making sure that hi-hat doesn't peek through, making sure that when the compressor kicks in, it doesn't get that note. La 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 la. Nobody in the world is going to hear that stuff. Very few people are going to hear the difference between 80% and 100%, and those people who do don't buy CDs. They don't buy t-shirts. They're grumpy, jaded people sitting at home in their red room surrounded by synthesizers, having Zoom sessions with their friends and they're just jaded. So don't worry about that. You just got to forge through it, man. You got to forge through it, and I got Aussie Rob on here, and he's talking. God, Rob, we miss you today. He's talking about how collaboration, fuck off as well. Collaboration is also really important. You know, if you're having problems, maybe guys, come on, let's set up a buddy system. If you can't write together, then have an ear to bounce stuff off. We've got the Discord, we've got this, we've got the Patreon, we've got all of these different things. We should be using the Discord more, where if you've got a song, and I see people, bouncing stuff in there, and people will comment on it, have a buddy. Choose a buddy. If you're having trouble, talk to someone here and say, I need a buddy for a month, and I want to play you some stuff, and I just need you to help me overcome the screaming that's inside my head that is saying that everything I do is mediocre rubbish and I should give up. I just need someone to cut through that, which ironically is the job of a muse. I think, apparently. And also I think, there's this little tiny bell inside me that goes off when I hit the mark. When I do a song or there is an idea, that bell rings. Ping! It's this perfect tone, which I believe is called the Wang Chun in Chinese. It's the idea of the yellow bell, and it's this perfect tone, which I believe is called Wang Chun. That's where they got the name from. But when I hear the yellow tone, it's there. The song is there. The lyric is there. Whatever it is, it's there. And then I have to make a note to say that the bell chimed on this. Because as you work on a track and you listen to it 10,000 times and you work on it and work on it and work, you can't hear that bell anymore. If you're telling a joke and you work on it and work on it, the joke's just not funny until you present it in front of an audience. And you've been working on the moves and you go bang, and they laugh, they lose it. And that's the same with when you play that track and it's done, the bell chimes through. It becomes this chime. And the thing you must remember is that when you started, you heard the bell. You heard the tone. You got it. Ting! You hit it. You hit the mark. You achieved it. You've got to write that down, and you've got to remember that if it's a storyline, a plot, a lyric, whatever it is, you've just got to remember that. And then you've got to have faith. And then if you get to a point where you can't create something to move around it because the clouds are too thick, fly by the dials. If you're in a plane and you can't see where you're going, fly by the dials. And in our situations, dials is the influence and the input from people who you trust, and it's also your musical training. So you know that if you can't think of something, then if I from this chord to this chord because of my musical training, I know that's going to work, then I have to do that. Always remember that inspiration doesn't just come. That's not how your brain, motivation doesn't just come. Inspiration comes. Motivation does not come. You have to work on something, and then then you get motivated. It's how your brain works. You're going to sit there and you go, I'm unmotivated, I don't want to do this. You have to start. And by the time you're 10 minutes through, you're going to be motivated. That's all I got. So if anybody else has anything to add, Brian.
The fuck? Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. That's a very, very good point about motivation. For example, okay, right now I'm about to start a new screenplay. I just finished the outline yesterday, gave myself the rest of the day off, but the last 4 or 5 days, this is a horror script. So for the last 4 or 5 days, I have been drowning myself in horror movies. Not even necessarily on the same topic, but just in general to put my head in that space. But, there's days where I just don't feel like starting it. But I'm like today, for example, I'm like, it's Sunday, it's lazy Sunday, but fuck it. I'm going to sit down as soon as this is done, open up Final Draft and begin page 1 of this fucking zombie script. And I know within 10, 15 minutes, I'll be writing all day. This is how it goes. I just have to force myself to start. I think it works across all mediums, whether it's music, painting, writing, whatever you do. Okay, that's it.
Thank you. I'm going to go in after you, Eric, and then I might need to call it after you, John. Eric, please, go.
I like the bell idea. I think I work the same way, and I never realized it till right now when you said that. But I do, when I create a song, or I usually start with beats and just loop beats, and I'll know right away. I'm like, this I'm definitely gonna work on, and I'll have 4 others that I'm like, just not working with this. But I do the same thing. I put asterisk next to everything that I write that I'm like, this is this, so I can go in, I can pull those out later on and bring those beats in and do it. But that's that bell going that I didn't realize that's what it was. But yeah, I do it and I'm like, this one. So I do remember for later, and I'll always know in the future, even if I'm sick of it, this is one I need to keep working on. So
yeah. So I have recently signed up to the library. Thanks, Julius. I thought you'd like that. We've got a library about 10 minutes from where we walk, and it's got a really good sci-fi book section, like sci-fi films. And something I'm doing now is I will go down there and I will pull out all of the books on Banksy, screen printing, stenciling, street art, punk rock art, and I will sit there and I will flip through them. And bring home 10 pounds worth of books and take them back a week later. Libraries are great because you're working where else. When you walk into a library, you've been conditioned to go, shut up and work. You're conditioned to do that from your childhood. And believe me, if you sit down there with a whole bunch of books about zombie movies, Alien, it's got an encyclopedia on Zelda. Did you know that? Did you know there is a encyclopedia of Zelda? It's there. Right? Sit down with this stuff and start kicking out the juices, and you say, I'm not leaving until I have a cooked chorus, or I have that thing. I'm not leaving until it's done. Excuse me, John, the floor is yours.
Hey, so I wanted to respond to kind of what Brian was saying specifically about getting yourself in the headspace. There's a technique that you can use when exercising if you're trying to get yourself in a daily routine, which is if you go through the trouble, the ritual of actually putting on, your shorts, your shirt, whatever, and basically put yourself in the headspace, because it's really easy to not start. You're just like, yeah, I need to do that. Yeah, but I got 18 other things that I got to do, and you can distract yourself and justify those distractions. But actually, putting yourself in the environment where you're going to do the thing, that it's like Carl's going to church and sometimes just having those rituals and habits, that helps in just putting yourself in the environment in which you can be creative.
Thank you so much. Kevin.
One, I know we're getting near the end, so I just wanted to, one thing I did on my last album that I would suggest for everyone is, if you have an idea, but you don't have the capability, call people, reach out on the internet. One of the most fun things about this last album was I had a vision for slide guitar. I called the guy who plays in an Eagles tribute band. He's the Joe Walsh character in this Eagles tribute band. He came over and he laid down slide guitar for me. I had a local mechanic come over. He brought air compressors and pipes, and we just sampled him for a whole day. I had a guy come over that plays hurdy-gurdy, and I sampled him playing hurdy-gurdy and dropped that onto a track. So if you're ever stagnant, or even if you're not, and you just have an idea, it's a real thrill and a real helpful thing to call someone who specializes in that and just have them help you. Just a last minute idea as we wind things down.
That's brilliant.
Awesome.
Thank you. And I'll just say, just like what you said, John, if you want to get ready to write music, make yourself a coffee or whatever your drink is, and put on some eyeliner. It sounds like a really dumb thing. Or put on some cool clothes and some eyeliner. As soon as it'll help heaps. But anyway, we have to cut today short. Everyone here, hang around because I'm leaving the Zoom open. Thank you for joining us, and we are going to raid over to MTV TV because it's the place to be. And when you are at MTV TV, which we are raiding to now, you are going to discover your new favorite band. Rock and roll. Thank you for joining us. Let's go to MTV TV. And Space Couch is on at 12. Bye. Bye.